Hi guys, it's Thomas here from CO2base.com. Welcome to our weekly CO2 review. Today we're going to be looking at the 8th CO2 report of 2021. And as we always do, we shall start off by looking at the largest changes in commercials positions. But before I do the review, just a reminder for anybody who is new to this report that here at CO2base.com, we offer a lot of educational material, not only in written format, but we have some very useful videos as well. So back to the review and starting off with our first market, which is rough rice. You can see we have a 29% change in commercials positions. It's visible on the chart over there. And if you look at the magnitude of that change, it is definitely much greater than average. It is a bullish COT change signal suggesting some early strength next week, meaning Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we could see a bit of a rise in the market. But of course, what I'm always more interested in is the wider term, perspective of the market, how extreme this is. And you can see that not long ago, we had that bearish extreme. It's not easy to see on this chart due to the price levels and scales, but we had a bit of a decline happening over there. So seems to be a signal that was effective. Now, one might ask, is this a bullish extreme? Well, if you look at this 5-year chart, it's quite obvious that bullish extremes are pretty far away from the level that we're at right now. So you can see some very good examples of these extremes. This is not a situation that we can talk about any bullishness. It is still closer to bearish extreme levels, that's for sure. Coffee is our next market. We have a 23% change in commercials positions. And if you look at the chart, it's visible over there. There's no question that the magnitude of this change was much greater than average, especially if you compare it to the past couple of weeks, month. If we go further back, we have seen similar examples like the one I'm just showing to you right over here. At that top, we have seen a bit of a decline. Maybe the signal was a bit late for us to act upon, because that's roughly the time when we saw the signal. But the situation is different now because it's happening after a rally this week. So this signal suggests that we may see a bit of a pullback in prices early next week. Moving on to the 5-year chart, that shows us again a more bearish picture. So we're somewhere at the level that we were in September of 2020, just at that top. Now that, of course, doesn't mean that we're going to stop here and see a sudden decline, although of course that's totally acceptable based on the report. But it's definitely a warning sign that stress levels are high in the coffee market and that we should be prepared for a weaker market to come in the next couple of weeks and month ahead of us. The next market will be the gasoline market with a 19% change in commercials positions. Let's switch to the 1-year chart. And you can see that change size over there being a bit larger than average, but honestly, I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that size. I would say this one over here might have been a little bit something to talk about, but really not that much, I should say. So moving on to the 5-year chart, let's see if we can gather some useful information from the extreme levels that we have. And you know what? It's somehow interestingly showing more of a bullish extreme, I would say, although it's not that far from either level, to be honest. So whenever you look at a energy market, I always say look at other energies as well. Look at the crude oil, WTI, the Brent, some markets, because they do correlate with each other, and maybe the signal over there is more clear. So basically we had a bearish extreme a few weeks ago, but as you can see, it didn't really affect the market. Nothing really happened. We just saw the prices going even higher from that. So we had a bearish extreme, like on this 5-year chart, the most significant bearish extreme just before preceding this decline. Of course, as that happened, we started to see traders shift their position, becoming more bullish, actually, I should say. So In this case, it's definitely interesting to see that maybe small speculators could hint something. And if you look at the chart from April of 2019, when small speculators were heavily bullish on the market, so here you can see they were at net roughly 14,000 contracts, 15,000 contracts net long. That coincided with that top. And as that top went in, you can see as the price went down, small speculators started to, fall out of those net long positions. And we are at those levels once again. So I would still put this, if you look at the report globally from each and every perspective, a little bit more bearish, I should say. Let's try to look what happened in the extreme, at least on this 5 years chart. That was the opposite side, and you can see that was a good bullish signal, and we actually saw the market go higher eventually from that level. So we are not at that level yet, and so we can easily see traders shift their positions back towards bearish extremes. We'll see. Nevertheless, it's an interesting market and we should have our eye on it. Moving on to large speculators, COT Extreme, we've got the British pound on top of our list with 147 report. Extreme in large speculators, and you can see that on the chart over there. It is significant. Last time we were at such a level was somewhere over here, April of 2018, just at that top. Of course, we're not questioning that this is a bearish COT Extreme situation. Small speculators pretty optimistic about this market. So all in all, I would say this is a good signal for us to, expect this market, the British pound, to start weakening against the US dollar. We have seen actually the past couple of days some weakness in this market already. Cotton is our next market. Apologies. So cotton. There we go. And the 5 years chart to look at that 132 report extreme. What does that show us? And actually, again, there is a bearish extreme. We've seen greater extremes in the past, but it's at a level, even if you look at the charts, it should be clear to us that it is a bearish extreme. We had that bullish extreme just before that bottom happened. Beautiful example of a successful bullish COT extreme. And as the market rallied, we just saw, traders shift their positions accordingly. Small speculators heavily bullish on this market. Another great sign that we should see a bit of a decline in the medium to long term in cotton. And last but not least, let's have a look at the lean hogs market, where once again we see a bearish extreme. 90 report extreme for large speculators, 89 for commercials. And you can see, don't have to go back that far, just roughly a year, to find a successful bearish COT extreme signal just after that top. We are close to those levels. So a lot of bearish pictures that we see now. Of course, there's much more to do here at COT Base. You can look at all markets. We only show you a few available. We have, of course, the newest COT report types, all the data types, so futures only, futures and options that CFTC publishes, and actually we created the options only data. You can analyze special data sets if you want to. You can go dig deep into the change analysis. You don't necessarily have to look at one report compared to a defined look back period. You can actually do a multiple report change analysis. You can look at the COT extreme, not only in the table. You can chart these extremes. You have the option of looking at COT index, the move index. I think our long-term trend indicator is a very useful tool. You can analyze volume and open interest, and of course you can always go back in time and do a historical analysis on a old report. If you would like to look into a specific market, so we're talking about lean hogs, so let's have a look at lean hogs. You just choose the market in the left side menu over there, and you can do the pre-settings, which kind of report you're looking at, and there you go. That's all you need to do and analyze the specific data set that you want to just by clicking on it. So let's say you're interested in commercial short positions with regard to the total positions, and then of course you can actually have a look at the chart of that. Is it only the futures data you're looking at, or commercials short against total for futures and options, or the options? You can select these and just look at one if you want to. There's really a bunch of tools at your disposal to analyze the commitment of traders report. So I appreciate your attention. Thank you very much for being with me in this review. I wish you guys a very pleasant weekend. Take care, and I hope to see you in my next review. Take care. Goodbye.